Nisha KRA.
Isa file returns. Body. Deadline chiegni.
Najue. No file returns yako.
Wachere kwa file returns chao.
Mara wa file cho returns.
Ndirenda uririkane ku file niguo tikagie penalty. Uguo file umundi.
The tax cycle for P.A.Y.E starts with you. You've registered your company. You'll be these are your operations, and you've established that you'll need someone else to help you in carrying out the business. So you've registered with the P.A.Y.E obligation. So that one appears on your PIN certificate as one of your obligations. We have the mandatory obligation of income tax company, and now you've registered for P.A.Y.E. After you've registered for P.A.Y.E, you are required to file a return. Once you deduct this employee, the tax, as per the rates that we are having currently, you will file the return as per the dates that we'll see. And then after you file the return, you have to pay the tax that is due on the specified date. After paying the date after paying your tax is when now you will with other issues that arise after filing of the return. Those issues include the credits, the refunds, waivers, or penalties if you filed a specific return late. So what is P.A.Y.E? This is a method of collecting from individuals. The individuals could be resident or non-resident who are in gainful employment. So these are the people that are providing services in your company. It could be your accountant, your marketing manager, or any other employee in the company. So we've said they're both residents or non-resident. Residents are the Kenyan employees, the locals that you're going to employ. You could be having an expatriate come to work in your company. Now that is the non-resident employee. Okay? So gains from employment, they include wages, casual wages, salary, leave pay, sick pay. We have fees, commissions, or bonus, gratuity, or subsistence, and allowances that are received in respect of the services rendered, in respect of employment income. That is the work that this individual is doing for you is what you will, anything that you pay is taxable, is what now we will tax, is the gain that now we will tax. So who is eligible for P.A.Y.E registration? It is any person who pays emoluments to an employee or employees and is required to register for P.A.Y.E obligation. So upon registration, you as the employer, you're required to deduct tax from that salary or from the commission that you're going to pay this person. And now you remit that tax to KRA. So because you've registered for P.A.Y.E, you're required to file your return by 9th of every month. So suppose you had registered last month and you've had employees, you registered in May, the return for May is due by 9th of this month. So tomorrow is the deadline for filing the return. So you're required to file that return from 1st to the 9th of every month. After 9th, now is when you'll have a penalty. You can file the return up to 8th, 11:59. But if you file when the clock ticks midnight, the return is already late because that will be 10th. Okay, we said taxable employment includes all cash payments or value of non-cash payments. So they include the wages, salary, we've gone through that. And we also said they charge to both residents and non-residents. And it is the mandate of the employer to account for this tax. So as you pay this person, you withhold some money. That is now what is P.A.Y.E. So as you pay this person, the other benefits include, apart from the salary, the other benefits that you as the employer are giving to this person that are supposed to be charged tax. The first benefit we have is is called car benefit. This is where the employer, you've provided this employee a car to use. It could be for personal or official duties, but so long as this person is using this car throughout, you cannot differentiate between official duties and personal duties. But this is a company car for the use of employee X. That benefit is chargeable to tax. We've also, if you provide a house to this employee, that benefit is also chargeable to tax. And also loans, we call them fringe benefits. If you give this employee loan at a lower interest rate than the prevailing market rate, say the banks are giving the loans at 16% and you've given your employee the loan at 12%. Now that difference, you see this person is going to gain. Is not going to pay as much as if they could have gotten the loan from a bank. That is also a benefit. And also we have household utilities, and these ones include telephone, electricity, water and security, and also domestic expenses that are in excess of 3,000 shillings per month. That also is a benefit that is chargeable to tax. The other one is pension contribution that is paid to an unregistered scheme. That bit of pension that you contribute to a scheme that is not registered is all chargeable to tax. And also pension that is paid to a registered or unregistered scheme that is in excess of 20,000 shillings per month or per year. It's supposed to be 240,000. Sorry for that error. That is also chargeable to tax. So going into details of the car benefits. So if you have an employee that you've given a car to use, the benefit for that we tax the rate for car benefit tax is 2% per month of the initial cost of the car. Or if you have hired or leased the car, you take the value of the lease of that car. So you charge that at 2%. I also said the restricted use may be allowed by the commissioner upon application. So that is why if probably you keep I don't know if I'll call it a work ticket, where this employee writes how they are using the car, like for personal, the mileage that they used on official duties and the mileage that they used for personal duties, so that you can apportion. But now this one you have to be given the apportionment of the rates by the commissioner, that is upon application. So housing benefits, you take 15%. If you've given your employee a house, 15% of the total income of the market value or the rental or the rent paid by the employer. And the 15% includes employees, directors, or any other employee. Sometimes you find that the 15% is lower than the actual rent that you're paying if you've rented this house for this employee. In this particular case, you're going to take the actual rent that you pay. If the 15% is lower, you'll take into consideration the actual rent that you're paying to that house, to the landlord if you are renting. In case it's a farm, the benefit, the rate for housing benefit, it's 10%. So there are also other benefits that are not chargeable to tax. So if in the company you provide meals to your employees that are up to the maximum of 4,000 shillings per month, that is a benefit that is not chargeable to tax. And also night outs. This could be night outs of 2,000 shillings, less than 2,000 shillings are also not chargeable to tax. And also amounts that are reimbursement of expenses, such as subsistence allowance on official duties. These are the per diems or the mileage allowance. Those ones are also not considered as are not chargeable to tax. And also if you provide medical covers to your employees, that benefit is not chargeable to tax. And also pension contribution that is less than 20,000 shillings per month. That benefit is not chargeable to tax. The in excess of 20,000 is what you will charge. Less than 20 is an allowable benefit. So I think I'll just jump that slide. Then as you're paying this person and you want to calculate the tax, there are deductions that you take into consideration before you get now the taxable amount. So allowable deductions, they include mortgage interest deduction. So this is interest if an employee has taken up a mortgage for the purposes of a residential, if they want to build their own house or buy their own house for living, and they've taken up a mortgage, the interest that they will pay towards that mortgage is an allowable deduction from their gross pay. So you'll have the gross pay, and they have say they're paying interest of 25,000 shillings. You will less that 25,000 shillings, so that now you can get the amount that you will charge tax. The other allowable deduction is pension contribution to a registered pension fund. And this one is 20,000 shillings per month. So any pension that they are contributing to NSSF or any other scheme that is less than 20,000 shillings per month is an allowable deduction. So for mortgage is 25,000 shillings or 300,000 shillings per annum. And for the mortgage, for them now to enjoy this deduction, they should have taken the mortgage from, we have four institutions that are allowed in the Income Tax Act. You'll find them, if you download the Income Tax Act, you go to the 4th schedule, you'll get those bodies that if an employee gets a mortgage from them, that you will allow this interest deduction from. So those bodies include, I don't know, anyway, let me just read them out, can project that. So if someone has gotten a mortgage, the first 4 financial institutions specified under the 4th schedule of the Income Tax Act, they include a bank, or a financial institution licensed under the Banking Act. The other one is an insurance company licensed under the Insurance Act, or a building society registered under the Building Societies Act, or the National Housing Corporation established under the Housing Act. So if they get a mortgage from bodies that are under those 4 acts, this is when now you will allow that deduction. So apart from the allowable deductions, we have relief, tax relief. Just a moment, I'm not projecting. So apart from the allowable deductions, we have tax reliefs. The tax reliefs are supposed to reduce the burden of tax on this employee. They reduce the amount that this person is supposed to pay as tax. So the first relief we have is insurance relief. So the employer is required to grant relief to an employee who has an insurance policy on life, health, and education, either for themselves, the wife, or their partner, or the child. And relief, the insurance relief is to be granted at 15% of the premium, the monthly premium that they pay. This is in case of the pay-as-you-earn return. And also the policy needs to have a maturity period of at least 10 years. But also the relief has to be a maximum of 60,000 per year. If it's less, you only grant relief up to 60,000. More than that, you don't grant relief. The other relief that was introduced, I think from September of 2020 or 2022, is the NHIF. So the Act was amended to provide for insurance relief to persons making contributions to the National Hospital Insurance Relief. So these two, the insurance relief and the relief from NHIF, they are combined at the rate of 15%. The other relief is the monthly tax relief. The current rate is 2,400. I've said this is meant to lighten the burden of tax on the taxpayer. So when you do not grant relief to your employee, the employee can apply for a refund at the end of the year. Suppose you are just calculating the tax and you did not give them. That is when now, when they are filing their income tax return, they can apply for refund. Now that is after filing the income tax return. So when you are declaring the relief in iTax for NHIF, you need to have the NHIF number, the name of the policy, the name of the company that is giving that policy is NHIF, and this falls under, the policy is a health policy. And then you have to indicate the NHIF member number of your employee. Policyholder is self, and then the commencement date is January of 2022. Maturity date you indicate as December of 2022. And then the sum assured becomes the same amount as the annual premium paid. That is the annual premium that the employee pays to NHIF. And also under annual premium paid, you get the total contributions for the year. So the rates of tax for Pay-As-You-Earn are as follows. These are the current rates. From 0 to 24,000 shillings, you tax at 10%. So the next band is falls between 24,000 and 24,000 to 32,000. That is 8,033 shillings. You will tax at 25%. And any amount that is over 32,333 tax at 30%. So after you've gotten the amount of tax, you will less the relief. That is 2,400. The difference is now what you will remit as tax. So we have an example there. This person is earning 115,000. Then you will less the allowable deductions that we have mentioned. That is mortgage interest. This person is paying interest at 15,000 and also pension contribution at 5,000. That becomes 20,000. So the taxable pay for this particular person is 95,000. So 95,000 is what you will subject to tax. So under the tax computation, the first 24,000 you tax at 10%, you will get 2,400. And then the next band of 8,333, you tax at 25%. You'll get 2,083 shillings. And then you have the amount that is above 32,000. So now you'll take the 95,000 less 24,000. That one we've already subjected to tax at 10%. The next band of 8,000, we've subjected it to tax at 25%. So the difference, that is 62,000, you will tax it at 30%. So you'll sum them up. You'll get a total of 23,283. And then less 2,400. That is the monthly relief. This person will pay tax of 20,000. So this is what you as the employer is supposed to remit to KRA as tax. All the way, as tax for that particular month. So we move on to penalties and interest. So when you fail to file and pay the return by 9th of every month, you'll get a penalty. So the late filing penalty is the higher of 25% of the tax due, or 10,000. So say the pay for all your employees combined, you're supposed to pay tax of 100,000. So when you get 25% of 25% of 100,000, that is how much? It's 2,000. I want us to get an amount that is higher. You have an example, give an example of the pay that you're supposed to remit is 200,000, and you remit that return, say, on the 10th. You will take the 25% of that 200,000. It's 50,000. That will be your penalty because it's more than 10,000. So that is what we mean, the higher of 25% of the tax due. We get the higher of. And then late payment, you've a penalty of 5% of the tax due. So in this case, 5% of 200,000, that will be the penalty for late filing. And also, if you do not also pay as say on 10th, after the month has lapsed, there is interest of 1% per month. And that interest is compounded. So every month, the interest keeps on rising. The more you delay in paying, remitting the tax, in making the payment, the interest goes on increasing. So I think I've covered the overview for P.A.Y.E. I can take any questions that we have before we go to the filing. Over there. Yes. 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 Filing and payment has to be done on or before 9th. Yes.
Hi, Kimani. I just had a question. What's the difference between filing and payment? Like, let's say, for instance, the pay is 2,000. I just go to M-Pesa, pay the 2,000. Is that the end of the journey, or is more to come? And then I also had another question based on your presentation. On the NHI, for entrepreneurs who do self-declaration, what happens in their case? And then also, are investment contributions maybe considered pension, or those are two different elements?
I'll start with the first one, the filing and payment. The P.A.Y.E return. that you will fill in the company's PIN, the employer's details, and now also you fill in the employee's details. This includes their PIN and their name and also the gross pay. So the gross pay now will indicate the tax that this person is supposed to pay. I mean, gross pay less the allowable deductions, and now it gives you now the taxable pay, which now will also give you the tax that this person is supposed to pay. So now that bit is contained in the return. From the return, you will get the amount of pay as you earn for all your employees combined that you're going to pay. So you, after you file the return, you have to generate a payment slip. We call it a PRN. It has a number that you will use to make the payment. So there are 2 steps, filing and paying. Yes, which should be done before 9th, on or before on the 9th. Yes, after payment, it's done. So if you pay through M-Pesa, you will get a confirmation message from your bank and also from KRA, indicating that the payment is received. No, maybe just confirm, just to check. If you're not paying through M-Pesa, you can take that payment slip to the bank for depositing the money. And that's it. Yeah. Yes. Is someone else? Is the mic?
Thank you. I'm Benan. You just said that filing and paying is on or before 9.
Yes.
And you talked about penalty.
Yes.
So if I pay and do the filing later, after 9, is there a penalty?
Yes. There's a penalty. You say there's the late filing penalty. If you file your return after 9th, is where the penalty is 25% of the tax due, or 10,000.
It's okay, but I think paying is more important here because I just pay. I don't get it.
No, you see, the way the tax, the income tax act dictates is, it says that you have to file the return. You see, the return has information, the information that pertains this payment that you're making, so that we know you have X. Say you have 30 employees, and this is how much you pay them. So from these 30 employees and from their pay, we expect pay as you earn of this amount. So if you just file an amount, say 10,000, you will not be able to know, their gross pay or the other details. Yes. Yes. This is what... Okay, and after now pay as you earn, after now you've deposited, you've paid the money, the pay as you earn that you deduct this employee is debited. Is it debited in their ledgers, their individual ledgers? So when they are filing their income tax return, they will now have another entry, because now the income tax return, you provide them with a P9. A P9 has the gross amounts for all months, the 12 months from January to December, the pension that they contribute, and any other, I'd say, mortgage interest that is allowable, and the tax that they paid for the whole. So when they file their return, it kind of cancels out, balances out their ledger. They have a debit, and now they will have a credit, and they should be the same. Like the balancing amount should be the same on the debit and the credit. You had another question. Just a moment. I just remembered. The second one.
Just asked about NHIF. If you're a self-contributor for entrepreneurs, how does it go about? Is it something that you're going to talk about? And then the last was like investment contributions. Are they tax deductible? So you're in Chama and you contribute somewhere.
Okay. The investment contributions, the investment policy are not allowable. You can't get a relief on them. You only get a relief if you have a policy on health, education, and life. Only 3. Investment policy, you don't get relief. Yes. The other one, if you are self-an entrepreneur, are you paying yourself a salary? Yes, if you're paying yourself a salary, you'll give yourself a relief, monthly relief. But when filing, probably under income tax is when now you get the relief at the end of the year. If yes. Yes, yes. In your end of year return, suppose you're not paying yourself a salary, you're only declaring business income, you'll get that as a relief, as an individual. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm Agnes. Umnanisikiza?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted for you to explain concerning the rates. Please, if you can go back from the projector.
Okay. This one?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you kindly explain it more in details for me to understand how you deduct so that you can get the total of the pay? The next question is concerning the penalties from the late filing and the late payment.
Okay.
You have given the example. You have just given the example of 200,000. Kindly, I didn't get that well.
Okay. So with the rate, these are the prescribed rates that we have for year. They were effective from January of last year. So this is what we're still using. So from 0 shillings to 24,000 is taxed at, these are now the monthly, we have monthly rates and the annual rates. From 0 to 24,000 shillings, you tax at 10%. You'll get 10% of 24,000, which is 2,400. The second band is now from 24,000 up to 32,333. When you less 333 less 24,000, you'll get 8,333. So that 8,000, you'll subject it to tax at 25%. So if this person is earning any amount that is over 32,333, you tax at 30%. So take an example, say of someone who's earning 24,000. So from 24,000, you'll get 10% of 24,000 is 10,000. For this person, there is no other amount that will spill over to the second band. So the tax to be paid by this person is 2,400. And then we have relief of 2,400. When you less relief, you get a 0. So this person, in essence, is paying 0 P.A.Y.E. Yes. So for someone earning 50,000, the amount will spill over. 50 is more than 32. So the amount that is over 32,000 is what now you'll subject to 30%. So I don't know. Okay. Sorry? Uh-huh. Okay, this one. All right. So we've said any amount 32,000 is 30%. So you'll take, this person is earning 115,000 as the gross pay. We have allowable deductions. Now you can get the amount that you will subject to tax. We've said interest on mortgage for residential purpose. They want to build a house and they have applied for a mortgage. So the interest, not the premium that they pay towards reducing their mortgage, it's the interest that they are charged on the mortgage that is deductible. The mortgage is like a loan. So, and loans do have interest. So that interest on that mortgage is what is allowable. The other allowable deduction is pension. The pension that this person, the pension that you as an employee is contributing, say to NHIF, or if your company has a scheme, a pension scheme, the amount that this person is contributing to either NSSF or that other pension scheme is allowable. So that is, you less those two. After you less those two items, you will get now the taxable pay. Yes, the taxable pay is what now you will subject to tax. Okay. I think I even erred when we say, I gave an example of 24 person earning 24,000. 24,000, you will less the pension contribution. So the difference is what you will subject to tax. So before calculating tax, you have to less those two items. Either, you have to less the pension, and if they have mortgages, when now you will less it. If they do not have a mortgage, you only less the pension contribution. Okay. So be okay with the rates over there. Yes. Yes. For someone earning 115,000. Yep. Okay, you had another question. Okay. The late filing, you get the higher of, if you delay filing your return. You've said the process, we have 2 steps. You file and then you make the payment. So if you do not file that return on time, you've come to file it on 10th or 11th. So if your charge penalty at 25% of the tax due. So you are supposed to pay, say, tax of 100,000. You will get 25% of 100,000. If it's more than 10,000, that is what you'll be charged as tax. If it's less than 10,000, this is what you'll be charged as the penalty. Okay. So also, if you do not make the payment by 9th, the penalty for late payment is 5% of the tax due. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. No. On your iTax profile, they are divided. You have the principal tax, that is the tax that you're supposed to pay. You have interest, and you have penalty. You can pay, if you want to clear with the principal first, you can generate a payment slip, you clear with the principal. And then at a later date, you can come now generate a a payment slip for penalty and interest. Or you can even generate one altogether. Yep.
Okay, I'm Jonjo, and I don't know whether this was within you, but I saw it somewhere. I was doing a sample kind of filing. It's like you have unified the NITA. I was doing the filing. I saw it somewhere. So how is NITA related to manufacturing industry?
Sorry?
Assuming you are manufacturing industry, or manufacturing setup, where is that beneficial to the company?
NITA is you have employees and you've taken them through training. Yes. So,
for a manufacturing setup, where do I benefit from them?
From combining the return or?
Yeah, from paying the NITA contribution.
NITA is a whole authority altogether that has been there. So the only bit that what happened is now KRA collects on behalf of NITA. The NITA payments have always been there, and taxpayers have been, all taxpayers have been paying towards NITA. It's only now that we are collecting on behalf of NITA, is when now you have to combine P.A.Y.E return plus the NITA contribution and pay them together instead of paying to NITA and then to KRA. For the benefit, their benefit.
So both are paid to KRA?
Yes, both are paid to KRA.
What I was asking, if it is within the mandate, how am I benefiting? I, as a manufacturing setup, from now contributing the 50 shillings I employee to NITA.
NITA, you know, it ensures that there is that
it covers training. It covers training of your employees. So that whatever you're submitting to NITA is in respect to training. Just training, the training bit. I'm sure you do training for your staff. Do you do training for your staff?
No. Okay, sorry. You can hear me now? Yeah. NITA only comes in with respect to training. And KRA collects that as an agency fee. We are not collecting it as a tax for KRA, for the government. It's an agency fee being paid being collected on behalf of NITA. NITA only comes in matters training. Yeah. We only deal with that insofar as we are collecting it on behalf of NITA, but NITA is the one that ensures that you train your employees and you pay that money to us so that we remit it to them. I don't know whether that has come out clearly. Yeah, it is in matters training. Yes, so that in the event you even need any training for your staff, you could even contact NITA to conduct the same. Yeah, so that you get a return on your investment. Yes, I hope that one is clear to all of us. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. On the same NITA issue, what if there is no training that is being given by the company? Are we still liable to pay NITA?
And that is why we are saying, to ensure that you get return on your investment, you ensure that you get in touch with NITA to conduct that training, because there's no need of you paying that money and then they're not giving you anything in return. You pursue them, because there's always room for improvement. There's always room for, what can I call it? Enriching that knowledge that they have, or even emerging issues that need staff to be empowered and skilled so that they can perform better. So to make sure that you get a return on investment, don't just let it go like that. Don't just pay then. You say, okay, I've complied. So that is where it ends. Ensure you get training from NITA.
Because
yes.
I thought it depends on the setup of the company.
Training applies everywhere. Training applies everywhere. Every sector, every industry requires training. Yeah? Yeah? So ensure you get something from them so that your money doesn't go with the water. Yeah? Yeah.
Okay.
Sawa?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I think we will go now to filing. It's lost. Huh? So as we get wait for connection, I mentioned you registered for P.A.Y.E in May last month. So your returns are due by tomorrow. So I'll take you through the process of how you log in, generate, download the return, fill in according to the number of employees and the pay, and now submit to KRA, and how to generate the payment slip. So I believe all of you have your PIN and passwords, right? You can't remember the password. You have the PIN, the company's PIN, or the PIN that has the P.A.Y.E obligation. You are not sent for the PINs in the emails. So what you'll do, you have your PIN, you'll come to iTax, and then this is the bit that you log in with. So you'll enter the company's PIN, and then click on continue. To scroll down where show them where they can use the forgot password. Okay, so once you log in with your PIN and password, this is the iTax homepage. Your homepage. It has those tabs. We have home, teams, registration, returns, debt and enforcement, payments, assessments, refunds, and your ledger. So you'll come to, put your cursor under, returns. Then you select file return. Then under e-returns, it has the company's PIN. And then you'll come select income tax, P.A.Y.E. Then you'll click on next. So under next, this is where, you'll come download the return from these three links. So there's the first one. It's compatible with Excel 203 Service Pack 3 and above, or 207 Service Pack 2 and above, or 2010 only. That is if your transactions volume is not large. If you do not have a large number of employees, like a big number of employees. And the other one is Excel. It's compatible with Excel 2007 Service Pack 2 and 2010 only. This is highly recommended. Or if you're using the other operating software, not Windows, you will come download the third option. So you'll download the return here. So once it has downloaded, you'll open it. You have to enable the macros if you get that pop-up. And now you enable editing. You can enlarge it. Okay. So from here, we have the sheet 1 that has the basic information. This is where you come, key in the company's PIN, the one that has, you've logged in with, the one that has the P.A.Y.E obligation. Then come select the type of return. There's a drop down where there you select original. This is the first return. Amended is when you had already submitted a return and you realized it had an error. This is when now you'll come amend the return, and now you select amended. Then we have entity type, head office or branch. Select head office mostly. Branch is where the company has several branches, and those branches remit their own returns. But if you do not have branches, you just select head office. And then now you indicate the dates. The return period from, you first indicate the first day of the month, that is 1st May. Use an example of May 2023. Till the last day, that is 31st May. You have to indicate the date in full. Okay. And then now you, after filling in the basic information, you go to the next sheet where you fill in the employee's details. So you fill in the employee's PIN. We just use an example of a PIN there. And then you indicate the employee's name. This other bit, you select the residential status. Select resident. And the type of employee is primary. The reason here we are selecting resident and non-resident, we have those two options because resident employees, you will enjoy relief. Non-residents do not enjoy relief. And then under primary, we have type of employee, we have primary employee and secondary employee. You could be having an employee working elsewhere and they come to work in your company part-time. So they are given relief in that other company, that is their primary employee. And in your place, they are secondary employees. So they do not get relief twice. You only get relief once.
What about like if you have casual employees, and not someone who is coming in, do you put them under primary employee or secondary?
And primary, if they are solely working from your place.
What is that the way it's part-time, not full-time, or they come in certain number of days and you pay them a certain amount of money?
Now this employee has to tell you if they are working elsewhere, so that they only get relief. The purpose for this is for relief, because you can only get relief once. You can't get relief twice. Yeah. And then now you indicate the gross pay. Let's just use that example of 115,000. If there is any allowance, I've just put the gross there. If there is a housing allowance, you indicate. If there is none, you put 0. Same case with transport, leave pay, overtime. If there is an amount that you paid them, lump sum, that is when you indicate. If none, you put 0. Then we went through the car benefits. This is now where you get the 2% of the cost of the car. If there is no benefit, such a benefit, you would put 0. You don't leave any cell blank. Then under housing, if you have given them now housing, you select from here, employer's owned house, employer's rented house, so that now it opens up the other cells now to put the figures that are required. If there is no such benefit given, I'll select benefit not given. You will indicate that. Then you come to the other cell Y, where you have the pension contribution. So they are contributing 2,400. Mortgage, the interest, this is where now you key the amount for the month. If there is none, you'll put 0. And then now you key in the monthly relief of 2,400. And insurance relief, they must give you the policy, the insurance policy that they get, so that you can now give them the relief. And so this person, there is the paid tax that is calculated by return. So because our taxation system is based on self-assessment, you must have calculated the tax that this person is supposed to pay. So this is where you'll include your taxation, which should also not be a figure that is so different from this one that is calculated by the return. So this is the amount that of tax that this person is supposed to pay. If you have 10 employees, you'll come, you can add rows. You can add rows from here and key your other employees' details. Yes.
The self-assessment tax. So it's not something that is auto-calculated by your Excel sheet.
It is.
Oh, you see.
It is,
okay.
But you have also to indicate your own calculations. You see here, we have the 26,000
okay.
has been auto-calculated.
Okay.
Because of the now self-assessment, what did you assess this staff from?
Oh.
Is where now you key in the amount that you calculated outside the return.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a problem if you leave it blank?
Yeah.
No, you can't leave it blank because the return, once you submit, it will pick the self-assessment.
So you have to do like some kind of, wow, okay. Yes. All right. Sorry, like you said, it's new registration, so we are learning.
Yes. You can't leave anything, any cell that's open and you do not have figure, say, you put a 0. If the self-assessment, you have now to key the task that you calculated outside this return.
Can you put the same amount?
Yes, it should be the same amount because the rates are the same. Yes.
Hi, about the relief, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a fixed figure?
Yes, the personal relief is fixed.
For 2,400?
Yes.
Per month?
Per month.
And the NHI?
15%
of
the contribution. The monthly contribution.
So I think for a person who pays 500 shillings, they get 500 shillings there.
Yes, indicate 500. The 15% of the 500.
I'm seeing from there, it is a P10 form. Why not P9?
P10 is the monthly return. P9 is the tax deduction card that you give one individual. The P9 has the pay amount, the gross amount from January to December. It has the information, tax information for the whole year for one person.
Or for the employee?
Yes, for the employee. This one you give to the employee.
Now that P10 is for the?
Yes, it's for now the employee.
Oh.
Monthly return.
Sorry.
Thank you. For NSSF deductions, is that what you put in pension?
Yes. And the actual contribution, I think that's cell K. Here, not K, on the column Y. And the actual contribution is where you put now the NSSF deduction. Yes. 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 Yes, not 500. It's the 15%. And also for NSSF, they are tired, so it depends with the gross pay. Yep. I think you have number of employees that you have. If there are many and you do not need, you don't want to like add 20 rows on the return, you can create an Excel sheet outside this return. What you do with that Excel sheet is you have to align the columns, the way the columns on this return are, you align your Excel sheet as per the return. Where the cell is open, cell number 1 should be PIN cell number 2 should be the name of the employee. They just have to line up. Where we have the cells are grayed out, say like under column M, you have the cells grayed out, you will leave it blank. That is outside. I'm saying the Excel sheet that you'll be working on outside this return is where now you will leave it blank. Because when you upload, now the return, when you upload it to, you attach it to this return, it will now give the calculation. But where the cells are open, you make sure you indicate a figure. If you do not have a figure, you put a 0. And that worksheet that you're working on outside this return, you will save it as comma delimited, like the CSV file, and you ensure that you don't have commas on that, commas or any special characters on that Excel sheet. So you save it, and then you come import from CSV. You select import from CSV so that now it can attach to this return. So after it has attached and you've calculated that you've gotten the actual pay, you'll move on to the other sheets. We have another sheet. Yes.
In the event that I have actually put 2,400 as NSSF, and then later on my P9 form as an employee comes up as 200 shillings, what then should I do?
I gave the 2,400 is an example. So, said NSSF is tired. How much does your employer deduct you? I mean, how much do you contribute to NSSF?
The actual 2,400. And then at the end of the year, when I get my P9, okay, the next year when you're supposed to file, my P9 form reads 200 form.
The P9 form, you should read this. The 200 is per month, so per year is 2,400 for someone contributing 200.
Yes. And if I actually contribute 2,400, but my P9 form reads
okay.
Yes.
So now you take it up with your employer, because they have to give you the correct P9. Yes. So if you have employees that have that are registered with the National Council of Persons with Disability, they have applied for exemption and they have been given the exemption certificate, this is where now you come include their details. And exemption is given per month, is up to, the limit is 150,000, is not taxable. Anything above 150 is what is taxable. But this person should give you the exemption certificate, because that certificate has a number and you're going to indicate it there. Okay, the other sheet is computation of car benefits. If you've given your employee a car for use, this is where now you indicate the details. You will capture the details for that car benefit, so that now it can come, now populate this other cell on sheet B. If there is no such a benefit, you will leave this sheet blank. You don't have to fill anything. The insurance relief is grayed out. The other bit is the lump sum payments. If you're paying someone lump sum, this is where now you will come capture the details. Maybe someone is leaving the company and you have to pay them their lump sum. If there are any areas that had not been taxed, you also capture them under sheet G. If there are none, you leave that sheet blank. You only fill in the sheet that that you require for that particular month. If you do not have anything to fill, these other sheets, you will leave them blank. We have gratuity that is paid at the end of the contract. This is where you come capture it. So we've filled sheet B and we've ascertained the tax that is due. You'll come to the last return. The last sheet of the return, it shows the number of employees and the self-assessed tax for that month. You confirm that this is the amount that you've calculated. I've put the 50 shillings for NITA. I think can put 0 if there was no training that month. And then you validate the return. So it says there's an error. There must be a place I selected. So under that, there's an error an error sheet where you check the exact place where there are errors. It says B5. Then I go back to the last sheet and validate again. It says I put special characters. I can't see them. Just want to check, we validate again, hopefully it will go through. Still give me an error. So basically, I don't know why, if it's everything is okay, that it has checked on the return, it just puts it in a format that now you will upload onto iTax. So once you validate, it saves that file into your documents. After now you've gotten that file, you'll come, choose the file from here, get your documents, and then attach. Just attach anything. So you attach there, then you agree to the terms and conditions. And then you submit the return. Let's just go back. So you will agree to the terms and conditions and then click on submit. Once you submit, it will give you an acknowledgement receipt. Once you get the acknowledgement receipt, that is confirmation that you have filed the return. That is step 1. Yes, that's the filing bit. Yep. So after filing, you now have to generate the payment slip. So for payments, you come to this tab, payments, then select payment registration. So it will give you details under e-payment. You click on next. It has just your PIN and the taxpayer name. That is your company's name. You click on next. Then you proceed. So your PIN address and name and email address come auto-populated. So you'll come to the tax head, you'll select income tax. Subhead, you will select income tax, pay as you earn. The payment tax, self-assessment tax. So once you select self-assessment tax, on this side, you'll have the month and the year. So you'll select 2023 May, and then just down here, it will give you now the amount, which you select from that saying there's no liability. Let me see, oh yeah. From the tax period, you will select the, and then the month. So down here, it will give you the month, and here is where you'll get the principal tax. The amount that, the total amount that was on the return. You see it was 26,000, it will give you now the figure here. If you file the return late, this is where the penalty will be at, and the interest will be here. So you'll check on this button. Let me put a figure. So you'll check on that button. You click on add. It says, do you want to? The amount is populated. At the bottom of the page, you come select the mode of payment. You will select other payment modes and then submit. When you submit, it will give you a payment slip. So that payment slip, it has the total amount, and also at the bottom of it, it has the account number for KRA, the M-Pesa number for KRA. So you lose the, it's called the pay bill number. Pay bill number, it's 572572. And then the account number, it's on the PRN. On the bottom right of that payment, there's a payment registration number under the barcode. So that number is what you will use as you will use that number as the account number if you're paying through M-Pesa. If just you want to make a deposit to the bank, you just print and now just go direct and make the deposit there. Uh-huh. Yes.
Will be auto-generated on now that's last check, yeah, on the liability.
Yes. Yep.
So it means whoever is, when the amount is 0, I don't proceed to step 2, right?
Yes. If the amount is 0,
there.
yes, it stopped there at filing. Yes.
Thanks. Are check payments allowed?
Yes. But
by which date should the check hit the bank?
Sorry?
By which date should the check hit the bank?
By 9th. And it should not be a check that those ones, the checks that are supposed to be processed after a week. I lack the word. It should be a check that will be cleared that day, by 9th, not after a later date.
So once you key in the total payee, the penalties and the interest are automatically generated?
Yes, if you're filing late.
Okay.
Yes.
What if you haven't filed for, let's say, for April, March, with the penalties and the interest will be the total of those months?
Yes, each month the interest and penalty is calculated differently. Each month with its own interest and penalty. Suppose you registered in January and this is you didn't file your return and you're coming to file them in May. You'll have to file those other returns first before you file the May return.
With a different process?
No, the same process. Yes.
But the receipt will be one?
Yes. No. Each month has its own receipt. If you want to combine, is when now you will add. Let me go back. If you had not paid in January and you want to pay now in May, you can combine into one. You can combine all those months into one PRN. You only need to click on add for January, add for May, add for February, March, April.
Now the penalties and interest will be automatically generated.
Yes.
We have an offer. If you have penalties and interest running from January to this June, if you pay 60%, we have an offer. If you have any penalties and interest that run from January to this period of June, if you pay 60%, 40% is waived. If you pay 60% of the penalties and the interest, we let off the 40%. It's waived. But that is where you have paid the principal amount. So first tuna deal na first things first. You pay the principal, then the penalties, 60% you pay, 40% is waived. We have an offer. It's running this month only. It's not going to be active from July. Thank you.
I apologize, I came in late and I missed the NITA presentation. I have noticed that you have removed it on the return. Does it mean it is not mandatory?
Allow us to get back to you just shortly before we end. Yes. Yes.
The organization I'm working for was just registered the other day. It's a government agency. And apparently right now it doesn't have employees. Employees are actually seconded from the Ministry of Health. The people that are actually earning from the organization are only board members when they hold meetings. So when I joined in December, they had held some meetings and 30% of withheld by whoever officer was there. Now when I tried to do it, I realized that they hadn't actually included the pay-as-you-earn tax obligation in the when they were doing the registration. Now, is that money that had been paid from August, some of them were paid in September up to now, and it hasn't actually been remitted. How do I go?
For P.A.Y.E?
That's I've done it last month.
Last month.
Yeah.
You did not register from August because you're supposed to have registered from August.
No, what they registered, they just
Okay.
Yes.
So you have amounts that you have withheld.
Yeah, yes, from the previous whatever sittings of directors and what have you.
Yes. So you'll still come on the return. You download the return. You fill in the PIN, the name, and then the resident status, and the type of employee. You will select secondary employee. Then come capture the amounts under the director's fee. Here is where you'll capture for each and every one.
So can I just combine all of them and put it as one total? Because it will be just 30% whichever so that I do it once instead of...
Yeah, because if you registered, ideally, not ideally, you are supposed to have registered from last year so that you file for each month. You have a breakdown for each month.
Now my fear is, because if I do now, I've seen there are those what you call penalties and what have you, that will come in and these guys will come banging tables that why am I putting penalties in the returns, and yet it was the obligation of the organization to have paid, and yet they didn't.
I don't want to tell you to combine, because now you're supposed to have backdated your return. But this is where you'll come capture those amounts. And the penalty will be on the company, on that organization, not on the individual.
Okay.
Yes.
Another issue is, okay, they do sittings for meetings, and you find maybe in a month they have not had meetings.
Yes.
And that means that month I just don't file anything. I file any return or just keep quiet.
You don't. You will file a nil return. You don't keep quiet and just don't do anything. If you do not have employees, like you guys registered in May, you do not have employees. Your return is due tomorrow. So you'll have to come file a nil return. If you, yes, you file a nil return. For nil return, okay. For you that registered in May, you do not have an employee. You already have this obligation. After this, please go file your return. You'll come to here, returns, and select this option, file nil return. Under e-return, you select the obligation, income taxpayers one, then you click on next. Filing nil is very easy, it's very fast. The return period comes auto-populated. Now yours will be from 1st or the date that you registered, maybe 2nd or 5th of May 2023 to the last day of May, and then you submit. You will get an acknowledgement receipt, and that will be it.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yes, and also, okay.
That was good because, I mean, like I said, some people, are just new companies, and we're trying to understand how, things work. You just started.
Okay.
And you've not even started paying your own salary or figured out how you're going to do it. So I wanted to know, and maybe you want to be a tax compliant person and you've registered for P.A.Y.E as a good citizen.
Okay.
So yes, I wanted to know whether you could do that.
Yes, you're allowed to file a nil return. But even if it's a nil return, ensure you are observing the deadline. Okay. Yes, don't file after 9th and say because you had nothing to pay. The penalty is there. Late filing is there. Whether you have employees or you don't have, you must submit a return since you already registered with this obligation.
Okay.
Yes, you observe the deadlines.
Okay.
And then just, yes.
Now we are filing on behalf of directors.
Yes.
Now suppose they have already done it. Because these directors are seconded from various organizations in which they work as regular employees. Now, let's assume that they have already filed their last year's returns. And here they have some money that we withheld last year. If I do it now, will it reject and say that this person has already refined his returns and therefore it can work?
No, it will not reject. These are two different returns. Pay-as-you-earn is filed by the employer. The payment will still go through. If now you file, you make the payment after they have filed the income tax return, it's only now the ledgers that will not balance, which they can amend the return after now you've given them a P9, because you also need to give them a P9 so that they can capture this other secondary income.
So they can amend it now before the end of June?
Yes. They can amend it even after June. They only need, you can amend the return after you filed it.
Okay, thank you.
But you can only amend once.
Because most of them, maybe they are not aware that with their money and it will be tricky.
Is that there will be no sittings, ensure that you have a nil return.
We engage some consultants who come for, the contract is a consultancy. How do we approach that? Because we've been advised that for them it's a withholding tax and not paid.
Come again?
So in our organization we have engaged consultants who just come for a specific task on a consultancy contract, and we've been advised for them it's a withholding tax and not pay. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case. For an employee, this is a person who's providing services to your company on is from first day of the month to the last day, and your contract, the contract that you've signed with this person indicates that this. Because for consultancy, you also have a different contract that indicates this is a consultant. A consultant, you will deduct income tax withholding. And the rates are also different. Okay. All right. We can take the questions. For those who are watching us from KRA TV, you can type in your questions. We'll answer them as we proceed.
And for those in the room, just request you to raise your voice a little so that those who are watching can also hear. Thank you.
For example, how do I opt out of the obligation if I've become a partnership? Not close the company, I'm opting out of the obligation for P.A.Y.E.
Okay.
Because I've become a partnership. So the LLP, for example, is the one that has now the obligation for the P.A.Y.E.
Okay. So first, ensure that you don't have any outstanding liability, be it principal, be it interest or penalty. You clear all outstanding liability. Then on your iTax profile, there is an e-cancellation link where you can request for cancellation. Under registration, there is this bit, the e-cancellation. You will select e-cancellation for that particular obligation that you want to opt out of. And also now attach your supporting documents like you've transferred the obligation to the LLP. You can attach a copy of PIN, the updated PIN for the LLP, and also the LLP registration certificate. Yes. So from here, you'll just select taxpayer. And then here you'll select here under PIN or tax obligation to be cancelled. You select income tax pay as you earn. You just check there. I don't know why it's not checking, and then you select. You see, if you have any liability, it will it will indicate from here that you have to file a specific return, and also ensure you've cleared any outstanding liability. So you cannot cancel income tax as you have not filed the required returns. Please file all the returns. So it will give you, normally lists here the returns that you're supposed to file. Probably they will be late. Pay the penalty, and then you will come back. Then you indicate the reason. If the reason is not among this one specified here, you can check this one. It will give you a text box where you will indicate the reason, and now you attach the supporting documents. If they're like 2 pages, you have 2 or more pages, actually more than 2 pages, you scan them in a single file. Yeah, because it can't, you can't attach like individual pages. So you combine them in a single file and attach, submit. Once you submit, ensure you have gone to your tax station. Get in touch with their account manager, because they're the one who will go through your documents and now process your request. Yep. And now until you've been given the go-ahead that that obligation has been cancelled is when you stop filing. If you've not been given that confirmation that that obligation has been cancelled, yes, you keep filing and observe the due dates also. Yep.
How do you now generate the whatever P9 form you talked about? The P10, P9? And at what point? At the end of the year? Or?
Yes, the P9 is generated at the end of the year. So the P9 is...
Yes, it gives the summary of the whole thing.
Yeah. Yes, it's the employer who processes it from your system. Maybe you have a system in place that now gives you those calculations.
Like my case now that I'm going to begin from September when they were paid and now then up to December.
Yes.
To the last meeting they had. So how do I go about it maybe from the system so that I can see?
You cannot generate a P9 from the KRA system. You're the one who knows this employee. You're the one who knows how much you're deducting.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yes. So you are the one who's going to generate a PIN.
So there is a place you can get from?
You can, I don't know if it's under, we still have it under downloads where you can download and fill it.
Or you just,
yes.
Okay, you fill it manually?
You can fill it manually, or if you have a system in place, you can...
Okay, generate a blank sort of...
Yes. and then fill it so that you can give your employee. No, the P9 is not from KRA portal. The P9 is from you, the employer. You're the one who's supposed now to prepare and give your employee. KRA does not provide P9.
Thanks, Leah. I think we'll take the last question. And then the benefit of this forum is that we don't let you go just like that. There's tea and refreshments outside. So you can continue to engage with our trainer during that period. But this room is utilized at around 1 p.m. And we promise that you'll be out of here by 1. So we want to honor you and your time as well. So we'll be done in the next 5 to 10 minutes at the latest. Allow me to take the last question. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I know maybe this is a question for many minds in Kenya. Assume that you're an entrepreneur, that you have a restaurant, that you've just had a chef for that month of May, or you have maybe 2 other temporary workers, maybe it could be a cleaner. What is the process? Should I ask them to give me their KRA pins so that I can be able to hire them? And then do I now submit payee maybe for the particular, assume they're not working the next month, so I just submit the payee for the temporary workers for that particular month. Thank you.
When you're employing them, there are documents that you ask from them. Most employers ask for the PIN, the NSSF, or the NHIF numbers. So they must give you a copy of their PIN. And you're only paying tax for that month. You're deducting P.A.Y.E from them for that month that they have worked. Yes. So you'll pay the tax for that month that they have worked, and that is what you will remit. If someone quits, basically you will not pay them. So you will not. There will be no tax for you to remit for that person. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Leah. Leah, confirm if you are done with the then larger part of the presentation.
Yes, I am done. Maybe we can take questions after this.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Madam, maybe you can just give a reaction to it as I prepare our integrity presentation. I know our link is about to close, and where taxpayers can find the link as well.
Thank you. A round of applause for our trainer. You've done a very good job. Thank you. And we just want to confirm that the step-by-step guide for filing this return, we will share it today, so that as you go about your business, you take note that the due date is tomorrow. So we will share that guide today, so that you go and do what you need to do, okay? And we are still on the ground. We will continue supporting you. We will even share our details on the board, on the projection, so that you can get in touch with us. We are there to support you, and we will please vote with you, okay, to ensure that you comply and you don't have to accrue any penalties or interest to pay, okay? And we appreciate that you've been very interactive and engaging, and I know you have gained useful insights to help you as you go about filing the return before the due date. Thank you very much for that. And now we proceed to the very last portion of this presentation, and then we close. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. Just before I go into our integrity presentation, and once again, my name is Mendy Mwangi. I work within the Taxpayer Services Unit within the Domestic Taxes Department. I wanted to give you a sense of how important your new obligation is for payee. In terms of collection, Pay As You Earn is one of our largest contributors to the revenue base. So see yourself as playing a very significant role to the overall contribution and, of course, to the larger goal of nation building. I thought that was an important detail to highlight just before we go into our second and final very brief presentation, just about 5 minutes or so of your time. But we are obligated to train you all on what your rights and your obligations are, all things tax matters, and where perhaps, should you face a challenge, a delayed application, any frustration KRA related, you should know where and how to channel your complaint or report. So to begin with, over the years, we've endeavored to automate several of our functions with platforms such as iTax. As you saw earlier, you can make several applications on iTax from the comfort of your desk. Our goal is to ensure that the services we offer are efficient, effective. We also have a slogan where we say tax, we are trustworthy, we are ethical, we are simple, among others, and helpful. So please feel free to utilize our online applications, all things customs, all things domestic taxes you can access on online. Now, we also have a beautiful, very brief document known as the Taxpayer Service Charter. It's a document available on our website, 32 pages, summarized information as to where, again, you can channel any challenges you may have, but it also is an undertaking on our part. It outlines our approved service timelines which we are required to serve you within. So familiarize yourself with that document. It's an opportunity for you not only to be informed, but to also be empowered on what your rights and your obligations are. Your rights include the right to confidentiality, the right to information, the right to a refund if you're in a refund position, the right to courtesy, actually. And your obligations include the obligation to file and pay the correct amount of tax due, the obligation to register for the correct tax head, the obligation to be honest. As my colleague mentioned earlier, Kenya operates a self-assessment regime. So you are required to assess what you earned in the period, the month, or the year, and honestly declare that, and then go ahead to pay. So those are some of the rights and obligations. There are over 20, so you should ideally be familiar with them so that you're once again informed and empowered. In the recent years, we've also established a department known as the Intelligence and the Strategic Operations Department. It oversees integrity within the authority. We also enforce our code of conduct quite strictly, and through efforts such as this, we endeavor to incorporate matters on integrity in all our virtual and physical trainings. Allow me to highlight just one of our robust anti-corruption gift and whistleblower policies. The Informer Reward System is a program whereby P.A.Y.E will pay 5% of the taxes recovered from any relevant information brought forward by an informer, a taxpayer, up to a maximum of 5 million shillings. This maximum was recently raised from 2 million to 5 million to incentivize you who has relevant information to bring it forward for the purpose of strong tax investigations and subsequently recovery of lost tax revenue. Over the years, we are growing reliant on reliable third-party sources of information. It's also an opportunity for us to help foster a fair business environment for you taxpayers who are operating in the business world. Very briefly, these are the channels through which you can make any reports, complaints, corruption reports, not just related to the Domestic Taxes Department, but in relation to all 7 departments of P.A.Y.E and all aspects of P.A.Y.E. So take note of the CIC, Complaints and Information Center. Perhaps if you have an application you made that has delayed and gone past the timelines approved, you can reach out to CIC and they'll escalate the matter internally for you and give you feedback. You can also use the corruption reporting at kra.go.ke, and given that most of you are based in Nairobi, you can walk to our offices should you wish to make an in-person report. You'll be received by officers who will treat your matter with confidentiality, they'll treat your matter with sensitivity and be able to address it and give you feedback should it be necessary. You can also write directly to the head of P.A.Y.E or use the channels on your screen. The telephone lines are manned daily by officers who endeavor to give you feedback, escalate, and all that. Finally, we have iWhistle. It's a web-based anonymous reporting system. Should you wish to make a report without revealing your identity, please feel free to utilize iWhistle. Once again, it is manned by less than a handful of officers. So integrity and confidentiality is upheld at the highest standard. You can report matters such as bribery, tax evasion, concealment, conflict of interest, and we ask that you provide, once again, any relevant information that would go towards making a strong tax investigation and subsequently recovering lost tax revenue. So location details, phone numbers, anything, once again, that you feel fit and that you have access to then share with the authorities. Remember, you do that all without revealing your identity. Finally, please continue to engage with us. We are firmly in filing season. The deadline is 30th June for individuals, and for those whose accounting period ends on June 30th. Or rather on December 31st, I beg your pardon. If your accounting period runs between January and December, you are required to file 6 months after that, the deadline being June 30th. So we're firmly in filing season. We have extended hours in most of our service centers across the country, and they are now available on our call center Monday to Monday daily. So don't suffer in silence. Feel free to notify the authority once again in case you're facing any challenges. We have over 42 tax service officers across the country and officers also based in several Huduma centers countrywide. So don't suffer in silence is what we are saying. Go ahead to file. I was about to say mapema your best, but we are 3 weeks away to the deadline, so perhaps that is a bit delayed. So please feel free to engage with us. Madam May will let you know shortly that we have tea afterwards, and we don't want you to go without being all your answered questions being responded to. I have escalated your NITA question, and we'll be able to give you a response shortly. But thank you once again for honoring our invite, for making the time to be here. We hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much, Mandy. Thank you. So we've come to a close. A round of applause for Mandy for briefing us on what we need to do and what is available to us so that we can serve you better. We have given out forms, which please tell us something and tell us what to improve or what we have done well, so that we can continue serving our customers to the best of our ability. And then now we will end with a word of prayer, and then we'll also bless the refreshments so that we can now release you with grace to go about your other businesses. I believe you have gained something. Is it a yes or a no? Is a yes? Yes, we are still on the ground. We will answer your queries if you have anything beyond what we have answered. Okay? So I'll kindly request us to be upstanding so that we can come to a close. We appreciate our recording of this forum. Thank you, team. Thank you. Okay, so let us please be bowed. Almighty God, we come before you this afternoon with thanksgiving for the moment that you have allowed us to interact with our esteemed taxpayers and to impart to them pertinent knowledge that they need to go and comply with their obligation as pay-as-you-earn taxpayers. We pray, Lord, that you'll be with them and you'll get them to do the right thing, and that the rest of the day will go well with them. We also give thanks for the refreshments, and we pray that you bless them as we partake, and that you'll remain with us all for the remainder of the day. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause to yourselves for being good listeners. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Feel free to have the refreshments, and also the washroom area is to the right. So feel at home. This is your building. You are our taxpayers. We hold you in high esteem. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Najue no file ita returns yako
wachire ku file returns chao
mara wa file chi returns
ndirenda uririkane ku file niguo tikagie penalty uguo file umuthi
file returns by the way.
Magancho like file and returns.
Atrere. Mo file returns shanyusha KRA.
Is a file returns? Body. Deadline chiegni.
Najue no file returns yako
wachire ku file returns chao
mara wa file chi returns
ndirenda uririkane ku file niguo tikagie penalty uguo file umuthi
check mic check